Back, shortest break in MLG history there. The game is started, so we're going to jump right into it. Todd versus Hyun, Game 1 on Whirlwind.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're on Whirlwind LE for game number 1 here of this best of 3, spawning up here in the top right-hand corner from Team Quantic. It is our Blue Zerg player, Hyun. And down here in the bottom right-hand corner from Team XMG, our Red Protoss player, Todd. It's really difficult to make Todd sound epic. Todd is a hard name to make it sound epic.
There's only 3 letters.
Yeah.
Once you get to 4, you're pretty much golden.
There's no soft consonant to really kind of like ring out or anything.
Yeah. I'm actually really excited for this game.
Oh yeah, most certainly. This is going to be a great game. I'm all about this.
And this music is just...
Right?
Yeah, hitting the spot.
The StarCraft 2 music sometimes just really comes up with this epic stuff, but then it also sometimes randomly cues in when there's nothing happening.
Yeah. They just start the game.
It's like, Forge Fast Expanding Protoss and a 3-basing Zerg. Dun 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 dun. You're like, alright, well I feel like I'm wasting a lot of my potential right now.
In the mood music and not always the perfect times. But see, no, this is the right music, right?
Yeah. Now it's very nice and calming.
Yeah.
This is, you know what? I think Blizzard is just watching and they're just like hitting the cues for us. Just slightly altering our StarCraft 2 to do that.
You know what's really cool? I hate to bring other games into this, but you know we do a lot of Call of Duty stuff here at MLG. Call of Duty has this thing where like the game automatically finds highlights for you.
Really?
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And so does, I think, is it League or Dota has one of those, I think.
League.
League does it, yeah.
So how League works is it's like 30 seconds behind when you're observing.
Yep.
Or something like that, and it just automatically goes to where there's going to be a lot of kills or action.
Yeah. And can't you automatically make highlight reels really quickly after it? Like it'll know?
I don't know that.
I think the actual games, well, like you can do that in StarCraft too, because the replay can track is anytime a bunch of stuff is killed, right?
Right.
I mean, you wouldn't get like the coolest scouting highlights or surprise mutas highlight, but you would get like anytime a bunch of workers are killed, you can easily program that in. I'm gonna do that one of these days. That's my retirement project. Is it's not a hard program to make, honestly.
Right. Yeah, because you are a computer science major,
yeah.
so you can do that.
It might take me a while to remember how to use the computer.
How do I int?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, guys, we have a pretty solid game coming out here. We have 3 bases coming down here from Hyun. He did go for pool first. And behind that, Todd himself is going to go for a Forge, nicely tucked away in his main base. Going for double gas behind this with a expansion at the natural. And a single photon cannon out there to protect everything else.
This blood is glitching, man. Look at this.
Yeah.
It's glitching.
It doesn't know what it wants to do.
There's a weird little graphical glitch there.
Maybe there's a small crack and we don't see it from this angle, and it's leaking into the crack.
It's oozing into it. Well, there's kind of a crack here. Maybe, I don't know. Interesting to find out.
So what kind of play are you expecting to see out of Todd?
You know, honestly, it's been quite a while since I've seen a Todd game. I actually have no idea what we're going to see from him. Well, actually, I have a little idea. Based on my previous knowledge, I think we're going to see him use like Phoenix Harass into a third base. And then into Colossus.
I was going to say, what I've been seeing from Todd from WCSEU, he likes his Phoenixes, he likes his Stargate play. And I'm hoping, that's going to reign true in this game. He's got, only 2 gases right now. We'll have to watch what his gas timings are going to be. There's the Stargate already, so there we go.
Putting it in the wall, not afraid to reveal it. Really wants to get that wall. In fact,
well, the Overlord's not going to go back towards the photon cannon, so maybe it's not going to see the Stargate.
It already got punished for that. In fact, that Overlord did get smacked in the face once or twice by that cannon, and he's remembering the pain, right?
Right.
Uh-oh. Oh. Maybe I spoke too soon.
It's like in StarCraft Brood War where you'd make a little triangle of missile turrets to hide your stuff from observers. Oh, nice. The Stalker coming out. Does see the Stargate.
Yep.
So Hyun's going to see this. He's probably going to make, a good amount of forces to deal with just any type of Stargate play, but mostly just going to rely on drones for now.
Militia, of course, coming out as well. I kind of like the safer play on Whirlwind, and getting the Stargate's great here because so many Zergs like to go mutas on Whirlwind, so if you already have the Stargate out, it's so much easier to counter mutas than it is if you have nothing. I mean, because Blink Suckers can work, but with the faster movement speed now and the regeneration,
right,
against a player like Hyun, you don't want to give them the map control to just take 6 bases behind mutas, right? Even if you can defend, you need to take that map control.
And you're going to see, I mean, Hyun is just going to just macro in the mid game, as we were discussing before.
Yeah.
If he doesn't go for those, you know, massive Ling Roach timings in the beginning, then he's going to go for that Roach Hydra, and that's going to be a really nice shutdown if he gets enough bases behind it. So, Zergling moving out across the map, Mothership Core trying to take out one of them is not going to be successful. Little Zergling is now just kind of happy he's going to get away. He's going to see the Phoenixes.
And of course, there's that 3rd base from Todd, expanding away from the Zerg, which is a smart move, of course. Against Hyun, you kind of probably expect the Roach Hydra play, and you would, I think you would even expect slightly more given that you open Phoenixes.
Right.
So the hard part here is going to be defending this open area between his natural and 3rd base if Hyun goes for it. But no, actually, Infestation Pit and immediately scouted by Todd.
Wow.
Wow.
Very, very useful to have those Phoenixes around. And I mean, that's just one of the great things about Phoenixes is not only do they have the ability to get around the map and do harassment, but they also get the really good scouting off too. They're pretty
versatile.
Yeah. Durable little guys who actually can take a lot of damage from most of the Zerg early anti-air.
Spore Crawler and Queen there. He could run in and pick up a drone, but with 2 Spores and a Queen, he might not want to take the damage quite yet. He could just grab stuff that's being produced and rallied out. And look at this, straight to Hive from Hyun.
Wow. Now this is very new play I haven't seen from Hyun just yet.
I think it's gonna be I almost feel it's gonna be for Vipers, but I'm not sure because he's upgrading their range attack for the you know, Roaches, Hydras, etc. So it's not like an Ultralisk rush.
No.
And his upgrades are too far behind to really do that anyway.
And it's not like he's going to be stopping at just Swarm Hosts either, because he's going straight on into that Hive. So this is a very interesting play here from Hyun. I'm definitely feeling that Viper call. We'll have to watch to see what happens. So far, though, there's nothing really too crazy coming out here from Todd. 2 more Stargates actually coming out.
And right after the Overseer Scouts, so he's not going to suspect it. Going for Colossi, and then we're going to see either probably Void Rays following that up. But against a Colossi Void Ray, Roach Hydra Viper is actually really strong.
Right.
Because you can just pull the Colossi out. Without those, you know, yes, once they get up to like 15 Void Rays, they're going to kill your Hydras, but you just attack right before that point. Or even if they do have that, and then you just add more Vipers and then abduct the Void Rays as well.
Now here's the really interesting coming out here from Todd's play. Is he just trying to bait out Hyun, thinking that he's going for pretty heavy Colossus at this point? Because he's not getting Thermal Lance. He's not getting any upgrades really for his Colossus. Is he just trying to maybe bait out a whole bunch of Corruptors and then swing in with a massive Air Force and, you know, obliterate them with Void Rays?
Yeah, if he can force Corruptors, that's exactly his goal. But Hyun is smart enough to realize that Corruptors aren't really great units in Zerg vs. Protoss. Like, there's really never a situation you want a Corruptor over Viper, except if you're going for Broodlords. Oh, the Phoenixes get ambushed there. Yeah, I think we're definitely going to see the Vipers. Has he added any quite yet? I might have. Yeah, he has two out already. And that could be potentially 4 abducts in the battle. And that's a lot of dead Colossi, and we see him scaling up his force right now. Let's talk about his macro, right? You're like, he's going to be maxed in another few seconds.
Right.
And he's Hive Tech. And he's mixing both Roaches and Hydras with all the upgrades, right? And it's only 30 minutes into the game.
That's Hyun for you. That's Hyun for you. I mean, he just completely, I mean, both players pretty much at this point just said, you know what, let's just skip the early game stuff. Let's go to where we want to be. We want to be in the late game. We want to do what we can do. I like the Spore Crawler. I don't know what he's exactly doing out here.
It's a little bit confused.
He doesn't have any creep or anything to lay down on. He's just going to be kind of hanging out here. Just, you know, I'm a Spore Crawler. What's up?
So
Viper's coming in, grabbing one of the Colossus. Is he going to be able to get another Colossus? The Vipers do have to back up here. There are Phoenixes out here that want to hunt them down. A lot of damage coming out here from Hyun. Another great Colossus pull with the Vipers before they get taken out here by the Phoenixes. And the Roaches are doing so much damage. There aren't too many Hydras left, but enough to ward away the Void Ray. And Todd is down to 87 food. Those Hydralisks, dare I say, were they Hunter killers?
Hunter killers? Definitely, you know, 2 things for that game. One is Hyun's just amazing macro there.
Yeah.
Like, how many people can get that army with Hive Tech, with upgrades, with a follow-up plan? He had 4 bases, 5 hatcheries at that point. The guy is, I mean, he breaks the game, absolutely. And the second part was, we talked about it at the start, that area between a natural and third and whirlwind is pretty open.
Mm-hmm.
So it's ideal for a strategy like that. It's not like you have to go up a ramp, be force fielded, cut in half. It's a very open engagement, and that's what Zerg wants.
And it's just it was kind of weird for Todd to go for a couple of those Colossus. I mean, I'm sure he was just trying to bait out a couple of those Viper pulls so that he could get his Void Rays without being them separated from the main forest. But he just didn't have the chance to get to the Void Rays because Hyun already was on 4 bases, just immediately pops out this massive army, and it's just like, hey, I'm Hyun. I'm going to be knocking at your door.
I don't think he anticipated Vipers that fast. That was pretty brutal. Absolutely.
Brutal AI right there. All right, guys, so we're going to be getting on into game number 2 here of Quantic Hyun versus XMG Todd. The map is going to be Neoplanet S. I am Sham2, invited by the lovely Axel Toss and Axlev. Axlev, of course, to my right here, or to my left on screen. But yeah, we're going to be getting on into this next game. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Todd is probably freaking out right now. He's like, this is a build that always works because I just get a bunch of Void Rays, a bunch of Colossi, and then Zergs cry to me, right?
Right.
That's actually what a lot of players do. It's a pretty strong build. But the problem is he's against Hyun. And Hyun's macro is pretty absurd. Oh, I'm feeling... Is this like Terran music, though?
This is the Terran music. I was kind of confused about that. Anytime this music comes on, I'm just like, yeah, we're going to get on into this next match here. Spawning down here in the bottom left-hand corner from Team Quantic, it is Hyun. He's the blue Zerg.
Need a Timothy weed, right? Stick one of those in your mouth and...
Spawn up here in the top right-hand corner from Team XMG, it is Todd. All red Protoss. That's my horrible southern accent. We need our real Texan, like Axel Toss, to do that.
But he's like an urban Texan. This is music for like the rural Texans.
Yeah.
Well,
let's go rustle up some cattle.
Yep.
Let's go rustle up some Zerglings.
Some Zergling rustling.
That's a Zerglin, Lester. A smaller type of Zerg.
Oh, I love that campaign.
Well, what they doing out here on this? Anyway.
The voices and everything from the StarCraft universe is actually really cool. The
yeah,
story,
they are.
The voices,
they're great. I love their voices.
Like, StarCraft is a game, it's totally worth buying, even just for the single player. In fact, I think more than half the people buy it and never even go online.
60%.
Yeah.
60% of the people who bought StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty didn't actually play online once.
Yeah.
It's that StarCraft universe, man. It's very strong, very strong.
Yeah. An amazing game here. We do see similar type of openings. Hyun going for the pool first. Actually, by similar, I mean just Hyun. Todd, of course, is going for this gateway expansion, which is probably more popular opening on most maps nowadays. Last map, Whirlwind, was the exception where people do like to get that Nexus out very early. It's a larger map, and having that probe lead, the extra couple probes from that faster Nexus makes a really big difference.
And we're going to have to follow and see what Todd was going. Now, hilariously enough, there was, when we made up a game, Axel Toss and I, just to randomly cast and radio cast it, we predicted that Todd was going to go, it was on Akalon Wastes, I think, which is not, is that even, yeah, it's in the map pool. We said that Todd went for 3 gates into 2 base, 6 gate timing and beat Hyun. It would be absolutely hilarious if Todd actually was able to do that. And we would just have to replay that audio.
Yep. we just be quiet.
We'll
just
be
find
quiet.
out.
We'll find the VOD of that and just replay it. Hyun went for gasless and something, so it's already off. But Hyun's got some gas. He's going for his 2nd base already. Natural going up. One of Todd's zealots, very angry, needs to take out some of his frustration here. Just wailing away. I love it. Like, they don't have any form or like majesticness to when they wail away with their blades. They're just kind of like heaving at it.
Pure fury incarnate. Just get in there and make it happen. That's the Zealot mentality.
And yet, as soon as they're met with anything, we cannot hold.
He like runs into one Zerg.
One drone, we cannot hold.
Slips on a creep or something. We do see Hyun getting 100 gas for that Zerging speed, then taking his drones off gas. So that's just the reason why he's getting the speed fast. For his last game, he went for the 3 hatches early, is because he scouted and saw that Todd, when a gateway expands, so Todd has the potential to have a much faster warp gate which means that proxy pylons can happen much earlier and be much more dangerous. So having that speed to really hunt around the map, deny those proxy pylons, kill probes, is very, very good against the Gateway Expand.
And yeah, and it's exactly that. You want to try and to nip it in the bud before it actually gets anywhere where it starts to become dangerous. If that one pylon gets down and you don't see it, then all of a sudden there's 6 zealots morphing in, and they already have a whole bunch of sentries behind them, and you're going to be a little more of a pain. But we have our first sentries now coming out here from Todd. We're going to have to keep count of how many sentries he's going to pop out, because if there's going to be an obscene number of sentries, we're going to see some early aggression coming out from him. And that's one of the things that Hyun's going to want to take note of as well.
He's got this Overlord very well positioned. He can just back up onto this high ground if he needs to. It would take several Stalkers to kill this Overlord before he can get to safety on that high ground. Of course, as a Protoss, you can use a hallucination or something to get that kill, but this early in the game, it's great to have that kind of information, know exactly what your opponent is making.
And here's actually Hyun. He's got a number of Zergling hanging out here at the natural of Todd. He wants to try and bait out a force field or two. Meanwhile, Todd's mothership is just going to hang out over here and just kind of rain its deaths down upon this hatchery.
Any extra damage you can put on this point is great. If he's thinking about doing some gateway pressure, the lower the hatchery is, the higher probability you can actually go in and get that kill. And he's actually adding more and more and more gateways, so we are going to see a lot of pressure coming in here on Hyun. And Hyun, of course, cranking out those drones up to 44 with 5 more in production. At some point, he really wants to know what Todd is doing, because ideally, if he knew exactly what Todd was doing, he wouldn't make any more drones from this point on.
And he's throwing down the Roachwarren already. He's got the lair coming up. He wants to get ready for this. He knows something's coming up. He needs like 1 or 2 ranged units like a Roach in order to actually start picking away at the force, because if those force fields go down, those are going to be useless. Oh, that was close.
Oh, a great trap there by Todd, actually. 3 force fields for the Zerging force. Definitely well worth it. 1 Zealot's going to take some beating, but if Hyun got in there, that could have ended the game right there, because he would have seen everything. He would have delayed Todd for a good bit. But as is, Todd is coming out here. Hyun knows what's up. He's getting all these roaches. And Todd is going to have his work cut out for him. He needs these proxy pylons up as soon as possible so he can warp in units right into battle.
Right, and Hyun's trying to pop out as many roaches as possible. He's got 11. He had 11 on the way, now 4 more. Currently, he's got 11 out. He's got 5 more, so he's going to have about 16 roaches. But once Todd gets up this ramp, those sentries are going to be in a really good position to block off the rest of the forces. But Hyun doesn't let that happen. He's trying to engage now on the low ground. A couple of roaches do get caught by some force fields. Zealots trying to engage here. Zergling are going to try and zone away those Zealots from being able to hit those roaches. There is a hallucinated Archon out on the field, looking very, very shiny and blue. A little bit bluer than a normal Archon, so maybe he's a little bit depressed. Of course, because he's hallucinated, he's not real.
He's not real. It's a good reason to be depressed. Some nice force fields here by Todd, but Hyun just keeps cranking out units like a maniac. But Todd, he actually has a lot of weapons at his disposal. He found a way to get a pylon on the high ground right before the creep covered that area. And even though he's out of force fields, he can just warp in units so fast. Remember, he does have 7 warp gates.
Now, this is a pretty much all-in for Todd with this army. He doesn't have recall ability on his mothership anymore because he did spend all of the 100 energy on those time warps. So this is pretty much all or nothing with this small army here. He of course can fall back to the 2 bases and hopefully rely on some tech later on if this does fail. But Hyun looks like he's coming out in larger and larger numbers as the game keeps going on, and Todd's forces are getting weaker and weaker.
The battle's getting closer. Hyun's trying to swarm in there. More roaches and speeds in production. More force fields trapping those roaches. Sentries are coming under fire now. Of course, at this point, his sentries aren't the most important units. He just doesn't have enough to really use force fields. The army sizes aren't big enough to where force fields are actually super, super effective. It's all about brute force. Who is stronger? The warriors from Ire, from Todd, or the swarms that are coming out of Hyun? There goes the 3rd base, but Todd ideally gets a little more damage done than just killing the 3rd.
Right, and so Hyun is starting to build up a smaller force. It's 79 to 80 in the food count right now. 1 roach is going to kind of poke on up here and see what's going on. The sentries are kind of out of energy. There's 1 or 2 force fields still left in there, maybe 3. But Hyun is just trying to bide his time so he can get more and more roaches out here. There's only 1 pylon left out here for Todd, and he's about to get food blocked if he doesn't get another pylon out back at home.
That's absolutely correct.
He does have 1. Okay.
Yeah, he has 1. He has 2 in production now. Another one just started. So I think Todd's debating whether or not to push forward or back up, and he's scared of both, right? He's scared. He knows if this army dies, he's going to lose the game.
Right.
If it gets slaughtered. I think he's going to hang out here until recall because he's thinking, okay, I killed his third. I got a robo behind us. I'm looking okay, but this army is super important. If I lose these sentries, I'll never take a third base for the rest of the game. That means, even though I kill his third once, he's going to end up being ahead. He's trying to sneak his way out of here. Mothership Core now has the recall, so he's like, I can leave the pylon. I don't need to warp in because I can just recall back if there's an overwhelming force attacking me.
I'm just going to walk away, and hopefully nobody's going to try and, force the issue here, but I can recall if I need to. Gonna grab a nice little overlord there. Oh, but he's extending himself a little bit too much. A lovely amount of force fields do come out here. He's going to section off some of Hyun's army, and it looks like he's going to get a couple of roaches for that. So he gets a nice little overlord and a couple of roaches. He is now actually above in food supply.
Yeah, that was actually a really good trade. I mean, when you have this many sentries, you can just throw it on force fields. Anytime you get a kill is great. And against an opponent who's only on 2 bases, they can't replenish these roaches forever. Now, Hyun's pushing the front here. There's the recall. And he's got Immortals out now as well. Hyun really has to find a way to be cost efficient at this point because if you look at economy, it's roughly even. If you look at army value, Todd is way ahead with over 4,000 army value against Hyun's under 3,000.
Right. But one of the... Okay, it looks like he's going to be able to get out. I was going to say, one of the very scary points is trying to get out of your little choke point at the natural. Because Hyun easily could have wrapped around that and gotten a couple more kills. But, of course, you always have to be very wary of those sentries getting those excellent force fields down, which Todd shows that he's very capable of doing. Hyun getting his roaches back, kind of backing up right now. He wants to get that third base situated. He does have pretty nice saturation on there right now. 57 to 52 in the worker count. I
kind of like Hyun's approach here, going for the Overlord drop. He knows that Todd can just build more units, push out, and Hyun cannot beat this army. This is not going to happen unless Todd makes a massive mistake in a straight-up engagement. But the army is so heavy in sentries, he could either try to drop on top of the army. He needs overload speed as well to do that. Or he could just try to counterattack and do a base race. An overload drop is great for the base race as well. You can bypass the frontal defense. Todd might try to use force fields here. You drop some roaches on the high ground, and you're all good to go.
Now, Hyun does have +1. That's just about to finish up here for range, as well as Todd does have +1 on his army. Now, it looks like he's going to try and do a little bit of a counterattack here to bait Todd's forces to going back, trying to get away from any of that aggression. Oh, Hyun, you walked in the wrong direction. Your roaches are completely surrounded by Protoss units. Can you do any damage? There are too many move commands. He's not actually sitting there and attacking. He's just actually going to be waiting there. He's just going to burrow. He's just, all right. We're just going to hang on the ground here for a minute. We're going to recollect our thoughts and our HP. And we're going to come back at this in a couple minutes.
Todd's been just absolutely insanely cost efficient. There's the Umbro, but look how fast the roaches are. There's too much army here from Todd. Hyun is being manhandled, and wow, I don't know if I would have predicted this beforehand, but Todd is actually, he's going to win this game. He's going to bring it to game 3 against Hyun.
Most certainly. It's 163 to 119 right now. That's a 40 supply count, and that's a large advantage for a Protoss to have over a Zerg.
Yeah.
And with so many sentries, so many immortals, and now he's got a warp prism as well, so he can start warping things in. He can start microing with those immortals and doing the ever immortal drop. This is going to be very difficult for Hyun to deal with. It looks like Hyun is just going to go for a base race situation. A whole bunch of Zergling are getting ready to get into those overlords if need be, but the roaches are actually getting torn apart by these photon cannons that are way far back, and it looks like he's just going to say, you know what, I'm not going to deal with your pylons. I'm going to go and start dropping right on into the natural. Todd looking a little apprehensive right now. He does have some of his forces. Looks like they want to head back and start dealing with this back home. But he left enough just to deal with the rest of Hyun's forces. Hyun's microing a whole bunch more Zergling over there.
Yeah, it's in a base trade situation, which is the only way Hyun can win this game is in a base trade. There's the recall. And now he's going to clean up the rest of Hyun's forces. If Hyun can maybe take out his Nexus, get some more probe kills, he's already got a decent number. He's only killed 14, actually. I think Hyun really wants to do a lot more damage. This Nexus, even if I don't think he can get it. I mean, he can, but he would lose a lot of roaches. I don't know if it's...
Yeah, at this point it's 136 to 50, and he's losing all of his drones in his natural. He doesn't have anything to do with these zealots back home, and they're absolutely tearing apart the rest of his base. Unfortunately, it looks like Hyun is pretty much out of options. He's only got one base right now. He did take out that one base, though.
Yeah, he took out the Nexus, but he only got away with 4 roaches. So the threat of the counterattack can be stopped by like a single Mothership Core, a couple Stalkers. If there's no threat of a counterattack, you know, Todd's just going to walk across the map and do some damage. Now,
Oh my spine crawlers.
yeah, Hyun knew that the base trade was going to happen, so he built a lot of spine crawlers. If he can defend his natural, he might be able to find a way back in this game, but I don't know if he can. I mean, there's Zealots and Immortals, 4 Immortals in this army. That they're great against spine crawlers, of course. And look at this, Todd keeping just the right amount of forces back here to deal with any threat of that drop. Maybe if Hyun can get some more roaches to the front, or up there to reinforce this potential drop, he could try to make something happen. But I don't know how he can stop this army, honestly.
Yeah, right now this is going to be a very difficult army to deal with. A couple of changelings going to walk in there. He's going to see a large army heading towards him. And unfortunately, he is only at 24 workers. His army right now consists entirely of 12 roaches and 3 Zergling. He's got a spine crawler forest, which is probably one of the worst type of forests you could ever walk through. That is not going to be a tranquil journey of self and inner peace.
Todd's going to back away. I thought he was going to go for that, but actually he's going to back away, and he hasn't spotted a third yet either. Is Hyun going to make this actual comeback happen?
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, but there is a War Prism in the main base. There are a couple of Zerglings who are going to say, yeah, I'm going to see what I can do.
I mean,
here.
Todd doesn't have the income to really warp units in, right?
That's true.
This is more of just a scaring, like a scare tactic to get Hyun to back up there. He did spot the third, takes that out, but I mean, Todd's on 1 base that's running very low on minerals. I'm actually pretty shocked he didn't attack the spine force, because the longer he waits, well, I guess he could try to starve Hyun out and just keep the 9 thirds. That can work too, take his own third base somewhere else.
He's trying to scare Todd by moving those overlords just in division.
Yep.
But it doesn't look like Todd is going to take that bait.
Here comes some Zealots. 3 are going to try their luck in the spine force. I don't know about that one. The other one was smarter, jumped into Warp Prism. Warps in a few compatriots. He's doing some nice damage here. Of course, he also denied the 3rd base attempt from Hyun. But Hyun, meanwhile, is being very mobile with his forces, which is what he has to do, because there's no way with these army values he's ever going to come close in an actual straight-up engagement.
I mean, neither of these players are really getting a lot of econ down right now. There's a whole bunch of creep going down at the 3rd base, and the other 3rd base is trying to be denied. Really, Todd can just sit his forces at that 3rd base and just eventually grab it. Oh, do not burrow there, Hyun. There we go. He's going to get out of there.
Hyun is going to escape. I love the use of just 1 Zergling there to deny a Nexus. He knows that Todd needs more economy. If he can keep denying that, maybe, just maybe, he can starve Todd out and somehow rebuild. I'd love to see Hyun take some like corner expansions or something. Because Hyun needs another base as well, right? His natural's mining out. Okay. Oh, mutas. How many can he get, though?
Yeah, he'd need a lot of mutas. And I don't think he's going to be able to... I don't think he'd be able to do that.
He's never going to beat the army.
Yeah, but he'd harass.
Yeah. The problem is that if Todd spots this, he can just build like 1 billion photon cannons. Or maybe like 10.
1 billion.
Yeah. 1 billion or 10, whichever is closer.
You know how many he'd need? About 100.
100? Yeah. I don't know if he can afford 100 photon cannons.
Well, it's the only way to stop Hyun.
It very well is.
Build 100.
Hyun's going for this 3rd base again. Absolutely what he has to do. He has to get a 3rd base and defend it with enough. He needs to keep some units here to stop the War Prism from taking it out.
That War Prism is being incredibly cost efficient.
Yeah.
There's just no way to stop it. And he keeps moving his forces back and forth. And now it looks like he's going to come back over and deny that 3rd base.
No.
Oh, nope. It's going to keep going.
Yep. I lied. But the problem is Hyun both needs to threaten counterattacks to keep Todd at home, and he needs to defend his bases. So he has to kind of split up his forces. And look at this. Todd going double Stargate. Wow.
Well, that would be a great counter to Spire.
Yeah, absolutely, but who would expect someone when they're almost broke to go double Stargate? He must have scouted Spire.
Yeah.
The War Prism flew right over it.
Yeah, the War Prism's been all over the base. That makes sense. It's whether or not he could actually get the Phoenixes out in order to deal with this, which is going to be...
His 3rd base is mining, so I think he should be fine.
Okay,
Where's his probes going?
Probes, where are you going? Probes, what you doing? Probes, stop. Oh, he's got a... Is he trying to make a base over here?
I think he has extras, so he's long distance mining. Counterattack attempt by Hyun. Todd, of course, recalls back home to defend that. And now the mutas are out, so the mutas might go into main. They might kill the War Prism, which is definitely what they want to do. And now Hyun's in a hard spot. He's got to do some damage to these mutas. At the very least, he's got to keep this 3rd base alive. But Todd knows it's there. It looks like he's going to try to attack, and then when he gets almost there, if there's a counterattack, he can recall back. But if Hyun counterattacks very fast, exactly, Todd wouldn't have time to cross the map and attack that base. Todd's actually in a tricky spot because Hyun does have the mobility advantage.
Oh, and Todd's workers, they're not actually mining. There we go. There was a bunch of them that were actually just following another one. And I hate it when they do that.
Yep.
Workers become so buddy-buddy so very easily. They're just going to say, oh, I'm just going to follow this guy.
I'll
And
take...
we'll just see if I can get any minerals by just watching him get minerals.
I mean, it's one of the things where he's like, this probe can do the work, and I'll get tired for him. Oh, I'm a manager.
I was
I'm
about
a manager
to say,
probe.
I was going to make the joke. I'm the
Yeah.
manager for this probe.
But when there's 20 managers for one probe...
Sounds like standard management structure.
Yeah.
18 managers for one probe actually doing the work.
That's right. Well, you got to find somebody to divide up the money without giving the worker much,
My
right?
manager's watching this right now. I don't mean it. But he does have a sizable amount of Mutalisk out here, and he can actually start doing some damage by poking around here. He's got how many Mutas? 14 right now?
It looks like exactly 14, and the problem is, though, he hasn't spotted Phoenixes yet.
No, he hasn't.
And there's enough Phoenixes that with decent micro, which Todd has showcased some amazing micro in the series, they're going to absolutely shut down those Mutas.
But they're going to be able to shut down those Overlords.
Oh, this is a great pick-off. And that's, yeah. As soon as he saw the Mutas had an answer, he knew. He knew, man.
That's a shame. That's a shame. But, of course, also really good because that means we go to game number 3, ladies and gentlemen, for Hyun versus Todd. I'm Shem2. This is Axlev. We'll be right back.
Game 3.